Welcome to Toy Business Unboxed, your gateway to the secrets of the toy industry. Here, Jason Shea, a toy entrepreneur and expert in the field.
Every product we develop is really inspired by some of the real life experience that we have with our son.
60% of all toys last year were sold on Amazon, which is incredible.
Be passionate about it because it's a road, it's a journey.
Like when you have an idea that you think is like gonna somewhat like change the world, make things better, I'd say go for it.
We'll guide you through the enchanting world of toy design, marketing, and manufacturing. Now let the unboxing begin.
Hi, welcome back to another episode of Toy Business Unboxed. For today's guest, we have a guest all the way from Hawaii, and April, run a business based in Hawaii that's designing culturally inspired children's product from Loco Moco playset to bilingual books. And her brand has been spreading joys while honoring local heritage. And in today's episode, April and I is going to talk about how she launched her brand back in 2019. Navigating the growth and also all the different products she have created over the year. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today, April.
Thanks, Jason. Aloha.
Aloha. So can we first start out with like what inspired you to start the toy company that you currently operate and a little bit background story about it?
Yeah, so first of all, my company is called Keiki Cow, which in Hawaii means kid food. I started my business back in 2019. I had been a teacher up until that point, but when I had my second baby, I took some time off to be with my kids. And my toddler at the time was really into play food. And as you know, as a parent, developmentally around that age, 2-3 years old, there's a lot of role playing of kind of learning how to be a person in the world through acting things out.
Sure.
And play food was really big in our house. So it's at that time that I noticed that we didn't have any play food sets available that reflected our local Hawaii culture and cuisine. As you know, having traveled here, Hawaii has a very unique culture. There's the beautiful foundation of Hawaiian culture. And on top of that, all the immigrants from around the Pacific who have come through generations and contributed food and cultural elements. So items like, musubi or Loco Moco that you mentioned, malasada, shave ice, these all have sort of roots in other cultures that kind of created this interesting melting pot. And so, yeah, I just set out to make the one play food set, and I really did not intend to create a business, but it just kind of grew from there.
I see. And how many products do you have right now in your catalog?
At this point, probably around 50 toys, books, games, but sometimes I'll do even unrelated things. Like I just did like a tote bag collaboration. I feel like even though my first few products are still my best sellers, just for my own creative stimulation and entertainment, I feel like I need to keep making stuff. Otherwise I get bored. And so that's why I kind of just a few things a year.
I see.
Products and testing new things out.
Yeah, 50 is still quite a bit of different. Which one? I want to kind of go back a little bit, talk about the first product that you designed first, which is the one that you just showed to the audience earlier. How long does that take you to come up with the idea, contacting with manufacturers, and getting like the actual, I guess, prototype to the actual product? How long does that take you, and what are some of the challenges that you are facing initially?
I think I remember I got the idea for it in February of 2019.
Okay.
And I launched with the product in hand on August 1st.
Okay.
So, but I probably wasn't working as quickly as I could. It was the first time going through all those steps and figuring out, a freight forwarder and a customs broker and safety testing, like all those steps. But once you kind of go through that process, I think it can become faster, right? Once you know the steps involved. Yeah, I mean, I had never thought of myself as someone who could run a business or manufacture products. And I think it was just at the time I saw some peers around me, like former classmates who had started product businesses. And that's when I kind of thought, oh, if this person I know was able to figure it out, maybe I can too. And I was lucky to have some friends who kind of walked me through what that process looked like.
I see. Got it. And what was some of the initial reaction when you launched the product from the customers?
I think it was positive. I mean, I had nothing to compare it to. The
Mm,
bar was pretty low, so, I think, a lot of local people thought it was fun and, validating to have some products for their children that felt reflective of the environment that they were growing up in. And also, as you know, Hawaii is kind of unique in that it's a global tourist destination. And so,
sure.
even though our state population hovers around a million people, we have
Yes.
thousands of people coming in and out every day.
Hmm.
Um, and, a lot of people wanna come and bring something unique back home to their loved ones, to their kids. And so there's sort of those 2 audiences, the local audience,
Hmm.
who I can, kind of try to make things that, reflect their life and culture, and, the visitor audience who's looking for something special from Hawaii.
I see. And I think one thing that because I also own the toy company myself, and we
Mhm.
import quite a bit of product from China.
Yeah.
And how was your experience like importing product into Hawaii versus the mainland US? Is it harder to get like freight forwarding and all that set
Yeah,
up?
I mean, well, it's definitely not getting easier in
Mm,
the current climate. Um, this year we're facing some challenges. It's always been expensive because of shipping.
mhm.
And there's this weird, like, legal provision that requires, unless things are coming by air, like cargo ships need to pass through the mainland US, the continental US before they come to Hawaii.
Oh, really? Okay, that I
Just,
didn't
like,
know.
kind of
Okay.
ridiculous, but so these products are taking a very long journey to get here. So shipping here is expensive, and then outbound shipping to anybody outside of Hawaii is also expensive, especially
Oh,
since we have products that are, they're wood, they're bulky, they're heavy.
yeah.
Um, Shipping is probably our number one expense.
I see. That I didn't know. So all the product that you import, let's just say from China, you actually need to go to somewhere in LA first,
Yeah,
then go to
although
Hawaii?
yeah, except for air shipments, but we can't
Oh,
really do many air shipments because of the size and weight of
I
what our
see. Okay. That's very interesting. It
yeah.
just sounds very inefficient. You're going all
It
the
is
way, then going go
inefficient,
back.
and it's
So
it's really hard to forecast because
mm,
I feel like, that, the shipping time and the delays, like, are so unpredictable, and so
mhm.
I never do pre-orders. I hate to guarantee, an arrival date for anything because,
I see.
it fluctuates too much.
I see. And one of the things we discussed like before the actual interview is about like your decision on you have kind of focusing on the market within Hawaii instead of like
Mhm,
try to market directly in mainland US as well. Can you
mhm.
talk about like the reason behind that decision on like why you stayed mostly locally and without going through like some of the major channel like Amazon.com, etc. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that our products would be relevant to that many people outside of Hawaii or who are coming here because they love it. Somehow people do find us. We do end up shipping, direct to consumer to all 50 states, and I have requests for, from Australia and Japan and other places too, because Hawaii is a place that holds a special place in a lot of people's hearts or in the popular imagination.
Mhm.
But beyond that, I guess it's hard for me to visualize like going super mainstream. Um,
I
I'm
see.
also, to be honest, like not, I've kind of accepted the fact that I don't think I'm going to scale my business beyond a certain size because
Mm.
I kind of like it the way it is.
I
It's
see.
kind of
Okay.
manageable.
Yeah.
I don't like being a boss to other people. I have, assistants here and there, but
Yeah.
I guess I'm just not super ambitious in that way of just wanting to get bigger and bigger. And then the Amazon thing, first of all, I give enough money to Amazon, and I think we all do. Um,
Yeah.
and I think putting stuff up there, it's like, first of all, they're putting everything alongside all your competing products, right?
Yes.
Someone might go there to buy your stuff, and then all of a sudden they see these other things and get, drawn into something else. And
Mhm.
it's this constant, price game of having to go a little lower to be the one that stands out.
True.
Um, and our products are just, I think they would lose some of their specialness if they're
Mhm.
that like if they're being fulfilled by Amazon and not something that's actually based here in Hawaii.
Okay, and I want to go back to the product line beside the first wooden product that you showed us earlier. Can you also show some of the other product that you have? Because, and thank you again for sending some of the sample to me. I was able to use it with one of my kids, and I was able to understand how unique some of the design was
Oh,
as
great.
well. So,
Yeah, I mean, I haven't invented anything. It's sort of just the art and the colors that kind of bring a Hawaii feel to it. Another sort of classic toy is like a bead threading kit that toddlers use, to enhance motor skills. And so it made sense to make this little lei kit, which represents flowers that we often see on Hawaiian lei. So that's a very popular one. I can go grab a couple other things.
sure.
So we have a collection of wooden food puzzles that reflect Asian Pan-Pacific cuisines that are popular here in Hawaii because of those immigrant populations that I talked about earlier. So this
Yes.
is like a dim sum wooden puzzle.
Okay.
We have Filipino food, Korean, Vietnamese. Again, all referencing back to that melting pot culture that we have here.
I see. And the best seller right now, is it still the wooden play food set, or is it
The play food, the lei. We have a little vehicle set, a little car set that's pretty popular.
Okay.
And the books sell pretty well as well.
The books.
Some of them
Okay.
sort of pair with the toys.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that, because that's quite a bit. That's a decent sized catalog to manage, and you came up with all the product idea by
Yeah,
yourself.
I guess it doesn't feel like that much because if you look at like a fashion brand or something that's like churning out new collections every few weeks or months, that to me sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
With what I do, I've been doing this for a little over 5 years now, and it's really just a slow drip of a handful of products a year, because that development timeline, prototyping and sampling and safety testing and all that, because it does take a while. I feel like we don't have that much, but
I see. Yeah. Yeah, you should be proud of yourself. That's a
thank
decent
you.
sized catalog. There's a lot of product to develop. And can you also tell our audience a little bit more about your give back initiative that you're also doing with your company?
Yeah. So another thing, because I've kept my business small and, low overhead, I've been able to commit 5% of sales to give back to local charities. So 3% every quarter we send to the Hawaii Food Bank, and then 2% will go to other local nonprofits, seasonally. So actually, that's really not unusual for Hawaii businesses. I would say almost every other small local business that I know of, and it's a pretty, I know of a lot. There are a lot of people doing product businesses here or food businesses, whatever. Almost all of them have some sort of charity or give back initiative built in. And I think that just comes from the fact that we feel so lucky to live in this beautiful place. And at the same time are very aware of the challenges that many of our neighbors face. Of course, there's like beautiful hotels and there are beautiful suburbs, but you only need to go a few blocks to see people who are homeless on the beach. And because the cost of living here is so high, there's a great deal of inequality. And I think that just makes everyone hyper aware that, we need to work together to even things out.
I see. Okay. Well, thank you for doing that and helping the local community as well. And I know your background was also an educator in the past. How has your background kind of shaped the brand and the business so far?
I don't know if my teaching background has influenced things that much because I taught high school. I would say more so just watching my own children and their friends grow. I'm able to sort of more closely track what are their developmental interests at each age level. And so certainly as they've grown a little older, I've started to try to make things that are more relevant to them. So that's why I leaned more a little into games, that, instead of just selling to like the toddler age group, that we can extend that a little bit.
I see. And is majority of your focus right now selling into the local stores on the islands?
So it has become mostly a wholesale business, and that's so it's going to local boutiques, but also a lot of tourist-facing areas. So,
Okay.
hotel boutiques and
I see.
a little bit in the airport, just places that visitors are going to be present at as well. So it's hard to know
I
if
see.
the products are ending up, more so in Hawaii or leaving Hawaii.
I see.
But we kind of, try to cover as much ground as possible.
Got it. Got it. Got it. How about online? Are you also selling quite a bit on through your own website as
Yeah,
well?
so we have a website. I would say, on a typical day, it's sort of a trickle. We get a handful of orders, but if we have a new release or a big sale or in the holiday time, that can step up quite a bit. So, about half of our online orders are going to the continental US.
Oh, half. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And how is the shipping from Hawaii to mainland US
it's really
right
expensive.
now?
I packages to the continental US, I would say typically are like 12 to over $20.
Mm,
Just for the shipping,
just for shipping.
and I do try to offer free shipping after certain thresholds. So
Yeah.
you just kind of got to eat that cost. And that's just kind of the price of doing business from Hawaii.
I see. I
Yeah.
see.
I did briefly work with a fulfillment center on the continent.
Oh, you did. Okay.
In I want to say Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah, I forget the name, but I can get it for you. It was like a smaller 3PL that was willing to work with, a small company like mine with just a
Sure.
few pallets.
Yeah.
But it just ended up not really being worth it to me to,
Oh, too
you're
many
paying to sort of
ongoing
like
fees.
pay rent for your items there,
Yeah.
and then they're all the pick and pack fees along the way. So
True.
at the end of the day, I felt like it kind of wasn't worth it. But if I were to scale, that would certainly become necessary.
Yeah, that's because of the cost of the shipping from the island,
Hmm.
which is so much higher. So,
Yeah.
and what is your vision for the companies for in 2025 and beyond?
I don't know. I mean, definitely the tariff situation has caused me to be a lot more conservative,
Yeah,
um, because there's a lot more risk involved but just because everything's more expensive, right?
sure,
So I'm less willing to take a risk on a new product that might not move. And so
mm,
I feel like I'm sort of honing down my catalog to the
okay,
MVPs, right? The stuff
yeah,
that kind of moves consistently,
yeah,
because then I can absorb that higher cost. I really don't want to change my retail costs because they're
mm,
pretty expensive. This is retails for $35.
mhm.
Um, of course, it includes, it's FSC wood and it includes a donation, but yeah, I don't think customers can support higher costs, and so
Um,
I'm gonna just absorb whatever the higher cost is, but that means, I think, sort of whittling down our offerings.
I see, I see, I see. Okay, that sounds like a decent strategy. You want to focusing on the one that's more profitable. Otherwise, you have too much inventory sitting around. That could be also a drain on the business itself as well.
Yeah, I think I make all my decisions just based on, like, stress level, and if it's gonna bring more or less anxiety to my life, and, I
Yeah,
still have 3 small kids that
I
takes
see.
sucks up a lot of time and energy, and
I
so
see.
I just kind of take the path of least risk, and,
I
yeah.
see. How big is your team right now with the
I don't
business?
really have a team. I mean, it's
Oh, okay.
me, my husband's free volunteer labor. I outsource things like bookkeeping and some of
I
the
see.
design, and then I have a very part-time packing assistant to help me pack and ship orders. So that's pretty much
Okay,
it.
okay. You're just trying to keep it lean, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So, okay, that makes sense. Okay. And also, as well, kind of wrapping up today's interview, if you have to share just one piece of advice with someone that's getting started within the toys and game industry, what would that be?
Oh gosh. I would say try to find mentors. At least I found that, when you're an entrepreneur, you have to wear all the hats. You're supposed to all of a sudden be like a quasi expert in all of these things.
Mm,
And I know my limitations. I know what things I'm just not good at, like numbers, for example, or keeping good records. And
yeah.
so finding experts to consult with, and those might be paid consultations, but those can pay off, or just people to take on the tasks that are not your forte, so that frees
Sure.
you up to be able to do the things that you are good at. I think is really important and helpful, especially in the beginning.
I see. Well, thank you for sharing that. I think definitely like seeking out advice from other entrepreneurs is definitely one of my main takeaway as well.
Yeah, and of course you are that resource for so many companies now. You have the expertise to be able to advise. So I mean, I think that's wonderful that exists. And had I met you earlier in my toy journey, I probably would have been hitting you up for all kinds of advice.
You can still ask.
Yes.
It's
Of
still
course.
open book. But thank you again for being on the podcast and sharing with our audience your journey and all the different things that you went through as well. Where is the best place for our audience to find you online?
So our website is keikikaukau.com. So KEIKIKAUKAU.com. Same for Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, I hope you'll come check us out.
Okay. Thank you so much again for being on our show and sharing your experiences.
Thanks,
And
Jason.
you're welcome. And thank you for our audience for tuning in to this episode of Toy Business Unboxed podcast. We hope you have enjoyed today's conversation and find it insightful and inspiring. If you like what you have heard, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. We really appreciate your support and would love it if you can leave us a review and share a podcast with your friends and colleagues. For more resource tips and the latest update within the toys and game industry, visit our website at toy-launch.com, join the conversation and connect with us on social media using hashtag ToyBusinessUnbox. We'd love to hear your feedback and suggestion for future episodes. Until next time, keep innovating, keep creating, keep bringing joy to toys. This is Jason Shea signing off on the Toy Business Unbox podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye.